I need my Zoom buddies, you see me? All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Theresa. I'm an alcoholic. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be sober because of a loving God. Thank you for inviting me. I don't know, is Lisa here? I didn't. Where are you? Hi, how you doing? It's like these one night stands, right? Who are you? Okay. Thank you for inviting me to participate in my recovery and come on out here to this area. I was asking Alice, I think I've been here before, a long time ago. So thank you for having me back years later with now gray hair. Anyway, thank you for being on Zoom and being hybrid. I think that's important. I appreciate meetings that continue to be inclusive of that. As a matter of fact, I've been an online member of meetings way past the pandemic. I just love how alcoholics discover something like Christopher Columbus and think you invented it. But really, we've been on modem to modem for years. And there's a lot of people who live in remote areas who are disabled and seniors. And what a relief it was to finally see all of you and to be a part of it. It was scary for many of them to think that you were all going to go back to brick and mortar and forget about them. So I'm glad many of you have been mindful and have stayed online. I think it's important to share that. I always have a share before I share. It helps me out a little bit, folks. I do this often, but no matter how much I do it, I'm still uncomfortable. And this is awkward and intimidating. It just is. I'd rather speak in front of the PTA. I know people say, oh, it's just a bunch of drunks. I'm like, we're the most judgmental, opinionated people. You know what I mean? We'd be doing Cisco and Ebert kind of thing. Thumbs up, thumbs down. It was funny. It wasn't funny. I liked it. You captured my attention. You didn't. Anyway. It's very stressful. But despite it being uncomfortable, I do it because my life depends on it and somebody did it for me. That's all I know. And I don't know if they didn't want to or the sponsor made them. I just know they did it. Okay, I want to thank Alice, been the hostess of the mostest. She's been taking care of me. I was here for another event, and I don't know, I feel like I'm doing a tour in the Oakland area. I'm getting sick of myself, quite frankly. Anyway, oh, goodness gracious. But, just really hosting me in her home and taking care of me, and I really appreciate that. Okay, here goes. My sobriety date is March 29, 1990. But for the grace of God, sponsorship, fellowship, 12 steps, 12 traditions, 12 concepts, I've had the honor and the privilege of being with you all for the last 35 years. That is a miracle. This is my first time in the program. I think it's important to share that. There are some of us who do come and stay. I have yet to go out, and yet means you're eligible too. I'm not exempt from the possibility. And the longer I stay sober, the sneakier my disease is. May I never rest on my laurels and get a little bit too cocky. But this is my first time. I hope I maintain the same enthusiasm and dedication and desperation and passion as I did from the day I walked in. I want to welcome our new friends. Welcome home. We've been praying for you. We ask you to keep coming back and don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens. And let us love you so you can learn to love yourself. And it's going to be all right. All the old timers in the house, thank you for my life and my sobriety. I still want what you have and we need you. So please keep coming back. Whether you are an elder statesman or a bleeding deacon, we need you. Sitting in that same seat week after week, letting me know that I too can recover under all conditions and circumstances in this thing called drama of life. I have a short period of time to give you a Reader's Digest of what it used to be like and what happened and what it's like now. As I do so, I invite you to listen to similarities and not the differences. I never thought that my experience can benefit others. It trips me out that my biggest liabilities become my greatest assets, right? That this thing that perhaps was demoralizing and embarrassing and shaming today can make a difference and give hope to somebody. So the newest newcomer, you may see this little old lady looking all sweet and everything, like a gingerbread lady. But no, she was scandalous. Ask her story. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, okay. Oh, goodness gracious. As the story goes, this part of the story doesn't change. I get nervous when people say they've been listening to me or they heard me. And I'm like, could you imagine? I have to keep saying it. And this, I can't necessarily change this because this is really where my relationship with alcohol began. I'm born addicted. My mother's an admitted alcoholic in Alcoholics Anonymous. Mommy died 3 years ago with 38 years of sobriety. I was unwanted. She left me in the hospital. My grandmother and my father brought me home, and they gave me alcohol. Because I was born addicted, you have to wean the baby off. You can't just stop me cold turkey. So they gave me alcohol, intending to wean me off. But they left me alone in the house with mommy. Mommy said I started crying. She kept saying, shut that thing up. Why do I hear that thing? She went to the living room and discovered she was alone with me. She took a pillow and began to smother me to get rid of me once and for all. But for whatever reason, mommy remembered hearing them say, if you give her alcohol, she'll stop crying. And really, that's where I believe my relationship began with alcohol, because mommy made sure that a bottle of alcohol stayed in my mouth. And the only time that bottle was taken out was to be refilled. So I drank every single day, all day, until I came into these rooms at the age of 24, 35 years ago. So I drank my entire life. Alcohol was the blood that ran through my veins. It was my oxygen. It was my nutrition. Now, my mother's hope was that I would die from alcohol poisoning. She didn't know anything about alcoholism, and certainly I didn't. I was an infant. I was a baby. But today, when I tell you I'm an alcoholic, I'm very clear what that means. It's not even so much about how much you drank, it's what it does to my body. If you give an infant alcohol, the intention, whether it's to wean me off or not, it is poison, and my body is supposed to reject it, refuse it, get sick, or die from it. Instead, my body welcomed it, took it in, and demanded more of it. That's an abnormality. That's what we call the phenomenon of craving, the allergy of the body. And at no time that I do a New Year's resolution or say I shouldn't drink this way and perhaps I should stop. I drank like that every single day. I remember when I came into the rooms and I heard you guys said one's too many, 1,000's not enough. I went to the sponsor, my sponsor, and I said, I don't think I'm an alcoholic. I didn't drink like that. I sipped my drinks. I didn't chug a lug. I didn't dance butt naked on tables. That was my mother. I did drink like a lady. I didn't have to come here to learn how to drink like a lady. I picked my cousins up from the dope houses and cleaned them up. I'm not an alcoholic. And my sponsor took me to downtown Skid Row to introduce me to myself. Because if you've been drinking as long as I have, you only need a little bit. My entire bloodstream is filled with alcohol. I always need just enough to taper off. Now I'm going to sum up my 24 years of my life using adjectives. That's the only way I can give you a glimpse of how that looked like and what alcohol did to me and for me, no? I'm a New Yorker. I know people say, oh, Teresa's from California. I start talking and you hear Rosie Perez. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Puerto Rican from New York City. I grew up half the year in New York and half the year in Puerto Rico. The same thing I saw on the island of Manhattan was the same thing that I saw on the island of Puerto Rico. I didn't see anything different. And I'm going to use the adjectives you gave me before I came here. I did not have them. You say I come from a dysfunctional family. That's my family to this day. Where most of you can't wait to get your family back, I have to stay away from the majority of mine. They'll rub off on me before I rub off on them. Pimps, dealers, hustlers, gangsters, we're mafia. They're also police officers, politicians, and priests. They're all the same. You don't see anything different. This is a way of life. The very character defects you've asked me to get rid of around me, I'm breeding on them. You don't survive the world I come from without them. To this day, it's funny to go around my family talking about love and tolerance is our code. They were like, you've been in California too long. You follow me? Could you imagine? That still cracks me up. Oh, Lord, sometimes I play. My cousins be calling me, yo, anybody messing with you in Cali? I'm like, yeah, I got a list. It's called an inventory. But I can't give it to you until I talk to my sponsor. I got to do a fourth column. I don't know why people trip on the inventory. I'm like, that's a hit list. You ain't never did a hit list? Okay. I did one all the time. It's just that I gave it to somebody. Okay, anyway. Oh, Lord. All right. You call that dysfunctional? That's my familia. I also grew up with what you call verbal abuse. That's the way they talk to me. Physical abuse, that's what they did to me. And sexual abuse. All of that was the norm. It was as though a memo went out and they said she is insignificant, unimportant, nobody wants her, she refuses to die. So let out all of your deviances, your pedophileness, your frustrations on her. She does not matter. And that's what they did. Now, as horrible as that sounds, folks, I was not present for my experience. I don't know if alcohol talked to you or it talked to me. And it told me if nobody loves you, I love you. And if nobody wants you, I got you. You ain't got to worry about none of this. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, feel no evil. I didn't know I was walking around like a human doing. I don't even know anything about being a human being. I learned how to dress up my outsides, man. I didn't know I was dying on the inside. As I got older, I began to live like Michelle Pfeiffer on Scarface, yo. This is a way of life, man. And no, not everybody is a bull in a China store. I'm an abusee. I learned to dot the I's and cross the T's. I'm obedient. I went to Catholic school. I know how to say the Our Father and the Hail Mary. I do my confession on Saturday and I sing in the choir on Sundays. What? This is a way of life. I never planned on changing that life. I never questioned anything about it. I'm into money, property, and prestige. My house looks like Architectural Digest. Not anything is moved out of place. I didn't even know that I'm doing it intentionally so that you don't see me. I don't even realize that. You know, it fascinates me. At no time do I ever remember questioning my life. All my relationships were abusive. You couldn't tell me that wasn't love. That's my man. I dated this Mason once. It was horrible. He was boring. You don't want to smoke a joint? You want to beat me? Do something. What am I going to do with you? How do you live with that? I didn't plan on changing that life, folks. I really didn't. I'm emancipated at 14. I'm a grown woman at 14. All my friends are 15, 20 years my senior. I don't play with Barbie doll, hopscotch, jump rope. I don't do any of that. So how did I end up with you? Jokingly, I still say I feel like I'm in a witness protection program. I've been abducted by aliens. I went to Disneyland and never left. She'll be tripping me out. I'm still, you know what I mean? Bad enough I'm already in California from New York. It's a whole other... To this day, I'm telling you, I walk around California, they be like, you from New York? I'm like, why? Am I being confrontational? I'm really trying not to, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to ask for milk, man. I don't know how to do it. You know what I mean? I don't know how to do it. Like, it's weird. I'm still haven't gotten it. I just be like, yo, can I talk to you? Where the milk at? They be like, yo. I'm like, how are you supposed to do that differently? Anyway, that takes too much energy. Okay, so, you know, I've heard a lot of stories in these rooms. Alcoholism is no respect of any person, place, or thing. Money, no money. Family, not having a family. But this is an area where I believe most of us meet. No matter how we started drinking, what it did to us or for us. This is how we all, I believe, end up here. And the way I describe it, you say alcohol stops working. That's the language you use. But the way I remember it, because I didn't have that language, was that at the age of 24, alcohol betrayed me, abandoned me, and left me emotionally retarded with no coping skills. That's a game changer. I don't mind doing incomprehensible, demoralizing things, folks, when I don't notice. But what happens when I notice? What happens when all of a sudden I see the look of disgust on my grandmother's face and I can't wipe it off? And I notice that daddy stopped talking to me. When did daddy stop talking to me? And more importantly, why do I care? You see, I didn't burn bridges because I never established any. But now I want to know where everybody was at. I wanted the good old days back. I wanted the days back where I was flatlined. I lived in a coma. But all of a sudden, it was as though I had a heartbeat. And somebody resuscitated me. I am now present in this thing you call life, and I had never been here. Never. Scared the living daylights out of me. My bottom lasted 6 months. Some of y'all do that for years. That's alcoholic torture to me. Where you can't get drunk and you can't get sober. I'm restless, irritable, and discontent. I take a drink and I'm still restless, irritable, and discontent. That's a problem. And no matter what combination I did, I was still present for my experience. It scared the living daylights out of me. It was like a haunted house. I felt everything. I saw everything. I heard everything. My lover, my companion, my friend, my puppet master was no longer functioning. Alcohol told me when to get up in the morning, when to go to bed at night. Where I was going to live, where I wasn't going to live. If I was in a relationship, if I was not, who I was in a relationship with. It dictated every single area of my life. And it was non-negotiable. And now without it, how am I supposed to live? How am I supposed to breathe? How am I supposed to function? I was not under any delusion that I was running anything. I've been living off from it from the moment I came in this world. I don't know how to function in the land of the living on this planet you call Earth. And since I tried every combination and I couldn't get flatlined again, the best thing I can come up with was to invite death in my life. And I believe it's a horrible thing to consider death and to invite death. And death don't even take you out. Ain't nothing cool about that, man. I end up doing what I call the aimless walk with no purpose, no agenda, no destination. It's just a walk. And I ended up in a church. That's all. Wasn't looking for the church. It's in Queens. Whenever I go to New York, I go to where I started and I do that walk. It's not a straight line. I don't know how I ended up in that church. And I stepped inside and I felt the presence. It's more like what I feel when I come into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's this, like, but the presence that I felt in that church was distinctly separate from me. And I said a prayer. I think it's different than any other prayer. And I said, God, please allow me to feel the peace that I feel in the church inside of me. I always say, I feel like I lost my hustle, yo. I just wanted a moment for my head to shut up, and my skin to stop crawling, and my stomach to stop turning. I had no idea that prayer was going to change my life, folks. I didn't even think anything was paying attention to me. That's a trip. Here is where I believe the gift of desperation and the window of the grace of God collide with one another. Could have missed it. Now, I came to Alcoholics Anonymous. I went to Daddy's. I asked for help. And I came to California. I detoxed on a Greyhound bus. I just got back from El Paso, Texas, and they reminded me. I share about it often, and I forgot. I'm in El Paso, Texas, just a few days ago at a conference, and my host picks me up, and she was like, "This is where you had your last drink." And I was like, "I sure did." I totally forgot. I had my last drink in El Paso, Texas. I believe this man saved my life. I was sick on that bus, saved my life, and everybody else on that bus. Could you imagine having DTs on a Greyhound bus? And then I arrived in downtown Los Angeles on March 29, 1990. Now, I came out here because you have a tradition. It's called attraction rather than promotion. My mother and my cousin were sober. They have been here about 4 years. Maybe you messed up my drinking. And whenever I used to go to California, they used to bring me to these meetings. And these, they had things like musician picnics and these sober parties and your meeting after the meeting. I just remember they would go have coffee like at Denny's and everybody would be like, "Ah, quack, quack, quack." Everybody would be laughing. "Ah, quack, quack." I just remember everybody was laughing. I remember you never shunned me, roll your eyes at me, suck your teeth at me, or try to shove a pamphlet down my throat. And I'm so glad you didn't do that. I would have figured out how to die out there before I proved you all right. And my mother picked me up and she dropped me off in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and left me there. Because you told her to. Mommy can't help me. They already did what they needed to do. You know what I'm saying? She turned me over to the very people that has saved her life. I always say I feel like a baby in a baby basket left at the doorsteps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I've been raised in these rooms. I'm actually now sober longer than I've been drinking. This has become the new norm, no? A working part of my mind and my body. But I was 3,000 miles from New York City. I didn't know anybody. And mommy left, and my cousin wasn't there. I was scared. First of all, they dropped me off in South Central Los Angeles. If y'all don't know South Central scared me, and I'm mafia. Okay, they scare me. I'm sorry. I always tell them that. You people are scary. Gangs are scary. You shoot random people you don't even know. I'm sorry. That's scary. Y'all laughing. That's scary. I don't know you anyway. I don't come from that. Anyway, whatever. In Spanish, people like, yo, that's intense. Anyway, you don't even know them. All right. Oh, that's some psychopath and stuff. Okay. So I didn't mess with those people in South Central. I always mention Marcy. May I never forget her. May I just be an ounce. I always say, if I could just be a little bit like Marcy. She always said she was there for the retreads and the relapses and the newcomers. Man, if whenever Marcy asked you to take her to a meeting, you wouldn't be home for like 3 or 4 days, boy. But if I could just be a little bit like Marcy. She's another little Puerto Rican woman like myself, petite. Marcy walked straight up to me unapologetically with certainty and conviction. And she looked at me and she said, hey, baby girl, we've been praying for you. God don't make no junk, baby girl. You deserve to be here. You a child of God. And she took her hands and put it in my face. Brought me close to her and she looked at me. You know that I don't think anybody ever looked at me. I've always been invisible. The fly on the wall. God forbid you notice I'm in the room. I have a Harry Potter cloak. That's why it's weird that I'm always speaking all the time. I know people think I'm this wonderful social butterfly. Nope. I like being in the background. And anyway, I think God has a sense of humor. You'll probably lose me if you don't put me in front of you, I think. And Marcy looked right at me and she said, you have a beautiful light inside you, baby. And we just got a clean house for that light to shine. And I'm going to tell you the irony is that perhaps it was muffled by all the other noise. But here is a total stranger is saying to me something contrary to anything I had ever heard. And I believed her. We also stay for different reasons, folks. And I wanted to know what Marcy saw in me. Yeah, we talk about the last house on the block and sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, I have alcoholism. We have that selective amnesia, boy. You know what I'm saying? Remorse and self-pity. We be like, I'm done. Give me a minute. Be like, we're off to the races. I ain't got no problem. I was only kidding. But I wanted to know what Marcy saw in me. And she gave me a hint. She said it was inside of me. I began to listen to you and examining my relationship with alcohol, listening to yours. And I don't know about you. I say maybe I'm very Latina, folks. If you ever watch the Spanish channel of Telemundos, we're very dramatic. Like, you don't even have to know what we're saying, you know? We just very very theatrical. And I listened to you and I was like, what? What are you talking about? Are you kidding me? This is an illness. Like, what? I have generations of my family. This is an illness. This has nothing to do with lack of power. Oh my God, everything you guys, look, the big book to me is a pop-up book. Y'all know Chip Off of the Big Book? I know they did plain language and everybody thinks it's a problem reading it. That's a pop-up book. I don't know about you, but they be scaring me. I read that like a telenovela. When I be reading that book, I be like, what? Ooh, ah. They give you cliffhangers. You know what I mean? I be like, oh my God. I remember calling my sponsors like, we got to get rid of selfishness. It is going to kill us. I mean, it was just like, oh my Lord. Woo. Follow the black on the white, man. You gave me the roadmap to examine my relationship with alcohol. Once I'm convinced that I am truly alcoholic, I have an illness that only a spiritual remedy can conquer. I don't have to figure this out anymore. What a weight off my shoulders. I ran to the remaining steps. I must tap into a source of power. Where's the power? You gave me a hint inside of me. How do I find it? Through the steps. It ain't that deep. They used to tell me, keep it simple, stupid. We don't want to use that today. It's not politically correct. Everybody gets offended. Needless to say, I've heard and done some more stuff for the next hit or drink. You know what I'm saying? But I come here now, I got ethics. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my God, I'm so offended. Where did you just come from? Because I don't know about you, but I did some really shady stuff for another one. You know what I'm saying? Am I willing to go to any lengths to tap into the source of power? To uncover, discover, discard? Do the uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable? I heard you ain't got to dance with everybody, but you need to dance with somebody. You're as sick as your secrets. And I was fascinated with the higher power you found here that lived inside each and every one of you. All my life, I've reached outside of myself, searching. I love how people say, oh, I got an issue with the God thing. Do you? Oh, you got an issue with religion, not a God thing. You cannot be an alcoholic and tell me you got an issue with a higher power. Alcohol was the higher power. Can't be sticking a needle in your arm, sucking on a pipe, telling me I got an issue with a higher power. Are you serious? And I've been telling people as a side note, I just graduated, I got my bachelor's in religious studies and sociology. And with the professor, I said, let me ask you, is there really a God? He was like, we don't know, Theresa, just pick one. Oh, I went to seminary and everything. They were like, child, we don't know. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Nobody's ever really come back and told us. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow, okay. Oh, Lordy. But the one that you found restored us. The higher powers that I had before, they took away my innocence, dreams, and hopes. It had me under the delusion that I was running the show and I was running nothing. But this higher power actually empowered me. That when I gave the dependence upon this power, I gained independence. I like that higher power. That actually gives me dignity and grace and self-esteem and self-worth, as opposed to the other higher power took it all from me. The higher power that you found restored choice. The other higher power took every choice away from me. I've been saying that lately. Yes, this higher power is a show-off. Takes a girl like me, unloved, unwanted, unnecessary, and insignificant, picks me up, dusts me off, builds me up so you can see what this power can do, and I can come and tell you all about it. But I've been hearing people say that God does stuff without my permission, and I have to examine those things for myself. Does this higher power do things without my permission? I don't think so. Why would I do a step 3 then? Why would I ask this power to remove my fear if it can do it without my permission? Why each and every day I need to redirect my will towards this power if it doesn't need my permission? I'm fascinated with that higher power. The creator of all things, the Alpha, the Omega. That power requires my collaboration and participation. Requires that I surrender myself and say, take all of me. What will you have me be? What will you have me do? Direct me. What is my role that you've assigned for me today? So that I can develop an intuitive thought and inspiration so that sanity can return and I'll have a brain to use. I didn't have that before I came here. And so I've had a lot of things taken away from me without my permission, as I share with you my virginity, my childhood. I've had cars taken away, houses taken away, jobs taken away. I became the caregiver to most of my perpetrators and my abusers. I don't remember them asking my permission. when mommy got Alzheimer's, or when my brother got cancer, or my uncle with cancer, or my father with Parkinson's, my best friend with cancer. My partner now, 35 years, is completely disabled. Credit cards taken away, line of credit. I don't remember anybody asking me for my permission. I have people love me today and can't stand me tomorrow. I have people give me sponsorship cups. Best sponsorship ever. You're no longer my sponsor. Nobody asked my permission. But there's something that you've given me. A gift. This thing called grace. This thing called sobriety. That despite all those situations, the miracle is that not a thought has occurred to me to drink. Not a thought. Without any effort on my part, without swearing off forever. It just comes. A drunk like me. I remember when my brother's machine went flatline in the hospital. The first thing I did was I went to the kitchen. My oldest nephew followed me, and I turned to him and I said, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. This is my only sibling. I don't know if I'm supposed to yell, scream, cry, console you, tell you something. I don't know what to do. But you know what I know what to do? I know how to make coffee. So I'm going to go make coffee. And he said, that makes sense, Titi. I'll help you make coffee. I don't need to figure out my life. I'm no longer in the management business. I'm no longer the CEO of Theresa Incorporated. I have all these question marks in my life. I don't need to figure them out. I just need to go treat my alcoholism. And then the answers come when my house is in order. I throw myself harder into helping others. I've been in hospitals with my father's over here. I'm in the hospital looking at my father take his last breath. And my sponsee calls me about an issue. And I'm talking to him. When we finish, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm watching my father take his last breath. And she's like, oh my God, you should have told me. I was like, I think Daddy was happy because I've been staring at him the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, I gave him a break. Anyway, Daddy was like, oh Lord. Because I was like, thank you. I was like, oh. You was so happy when that phone rang. You were like, ooh. All I got to do is treat my alcoholism and the answers come. And so what I realized with all this stuff that's been going on in my life, I'm 60 years old. I am a student. I'm taking my master's in humanity. I think driving all is a little crazy. I have so much homework, you guys. I have so much homework since I've been here. And I have fun. There's no end game. I went back to my tradition. I'm a priest. I'm the fourth generation. But what I realize, I'm not a student or a daughter or a speaker or there's something I always am. I have a purpose. My purpose is to stay sober and carry the message. That I've been given a gift and it's called sobriety. That's the one thing that I have that nobody could take away from me. This is recent for me, folks. So I'm telling you, I was grabbing that stuff. You know what I mean? My sobriety is mine. It is mine to polish, nourish, expand upon it. It is mine to give away, and it is only I who will throw it away. And I'm not doing it. That might not be something to y'all, but it is to me. It's mine. Everything else is just so easy to be taken away. I didn't realize that. I spent so much time trying to get it and hold it and keep it. It's not mine to keep, but my sobriety is. I always heard Ralph say sobriety is a gift given to me by God, and what I do is my gift to God. I get a blessing to be a blessing. I love what he says. And so I am so grateful that God in his infinite wisdom, the gift of desperation, picked me up and brought me to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous so I can be raised with these tools laid at my feet. If nobody told you they love you today, I truly, truly do. And if you knew, I don't know what you're going to do. All I can share with you is what we have done. And if you're willing, just a mustard seed of willingness, you see what happens. I want to thank you for doing a 12-step call on me. I always say when I come and speak, it's like a one night stand, man. At the end, I'll be like, I don't know if it was good for you, but it was good for me. I got mine, you know what I mean? I'm always feeling better afterwards, you know what I mean? I'll be like, hey, okay. Cool. I want to say hi to all my Zoom family out there. I love you all so much. Please keep coming back. Don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens. Thank you all so much for allowing me to participate.